What is good, YouTube family? It's your workshop back again. Different type of video today. Yo, I'm gonna be giving my general impressions of Street Fighter 6. I know I have a video up on the channel already where I reviewed, just kind of reacted to all the super attacks from the game. Be sure to check that out if you haven't seen that already. This video is gonna be a little bit different, so I'm just giving my overall impressions. I feel like I didn't really get an opportunity to give many impressions of the game in that video. It was pretty quick and dirty, just kind of checked out the super. So this one's gonna be a little bit different. Cameraless format for me, so no camera today, but don't worry, I will be back. So in general, so I got access to the Street Fighter 6 beta. I got to try out a bunch of the characters. So there's a couple characters that are announced and you can't play as, but we did get to play as 8 different characters. I saw a lot of other like live streamers and YouTubers, and kind of like, you got your Justin Wong and I think Sonic Fox and people like that. They all had access to it as well. I didn't see any of them. I didn't really seek them out, but I also didn't really see any of them. But I did see them post content indicating they obviously had access to it as well. So it was clearly a lot of people had access to the beta. At least it seemed like it was a decent amount to me, even though it was a closed beta. So only invitees got access to it. So anyway, you got to play as Juri, Kimberly, of course, the classic Ryu, Ken, Luke, Jamie's a new character, Chun-Li, and Guile. And I mentioned Kimberly, she's also a new character as well. Other announced characters include E Honda, Dalsing, and Blanca, which is probably the most annoying character ever, or one of them. Pretty much the characters that are like some of the more weirder characters, Dalsing and Blanca, you couldn't play as, which I'm kind of glad because, screw those characters, even though I do like both of those characters. So, anywho, I got access to this, and there's kind of like, the system is very different, so I'm just going to kind of talk about the general mechanics. Now, this information's already out there. It's been out there for a long time, but I never covered it on my channel, and I just feel like talking about it, so, feel free to enjoy. If you have not heard this stuff before and you feel like getting into the game whenever it comes out in 2023. So, basically everything revolves around the drive gauge in this game, as opposed to, I guess, like the EX meter and all this stuff from, I think Street Fighter 4 and 5 were very similar when it came to that. Whereas there's no crush counters like Street Fighter 5 in this game. And I know a lot of people complain about crush counters, which I was okay with, but a lot of people hated crush counters in Street Fighter 5 for whatever reason. So in this game, they don't really have that, but instead they have another mechanic which could get just as, if maybe more annoying. It just depends. We'll see. So with your drive gauge, a lot of stuff is tied to that, like your EX moves, which are called overdrives in this game. They're tied to the drive gauge. You can also do your drive impact, which is like the main thing I think a lot of people are going to be using it for, which is kind of like a focus attack. And you can also even like dash out of it, similar to a focus attack, like the FADC from Street Fighter 4, like the dreaded FADC, like the noob killer. So you can do, I think it's called drive rush, and you can like double dash, like press forward twice and you'll like dash out of it. So, apologies guys, the audio is not gonna like sync up with the video. Like what I'm saying is not gonna be on the screen, what I mean. So, you just kind of have to bear with me. Some of that stuff will be showcased in some of the matches that I post. I'll try to post a couple matches, even though there may not be commentary over all of them, right? So anyway, you can do that, or you can also do like I think it's like a V reversal in Street Fighter 5, and in Street Fighter 6 is called drive reversal. So you can do like all of that stuff, like a lot of the same mechanics. Like you're getting pressured too much, you can do that if you have drive gauge. The problem is, since so much stuff is tied to the drive gauge, you gotta be really careful with your resources. I want to say that this is probably the game where resource management, at least for me so far, is the hardest out of all the Street Fighter games, because if you run out of your drive gauge, you take more chip damage, and you can't do any overdrives, aka EX moves. So you're kind of just screwed if you run out. And I mean, the better opponent may still be able to beat someone if if they're doing like really dumb stuff, but you can really put opponents in a very bad position if they run out of drive gauge, and you're you feel really helpless when you run out of drive gauge. So you definitely want to avoid running out at almost all costs, unless you're like I don't know, maybe at like the end of the match and you feel like it's pretty much over, and you get a really good read on your opponent. You feel like you're about to win if you do like a certain move or something, or do like a certain drive impact, and everything works out in your favor. Otherwise, you could be screwed. And there has been times when I was like really close to beating someone and I ran out of meter and they came back and won. So that definitely is a thing. So you don't want to run out of your meter for sure, and that could be an issue. I'm not really sure. We'll see how it pans out, or maybe I just need to get better at the game. So there's that, and your super meter is totally separate. So everybody has 3 different supers in this game, so that's actually pretty awesome. Something that I kind of missed. They did eventually do that in Street Fighter V, but at first I think it was just 1 super for everyone. So when this game releases, I feel like it's gonna feel a lot more complete. There's like just kind of like a decent amount of mechanics in the game, like a lot of different supers. A lot of characters have a lot of unique moves, so they don't feel the same as they always felt like in the old games. They feel the same but new and improved, right? So a lot of different improvements. It's kind of hard to explain. You kind of have to play the game. Like, for example, like both Ken and Chun-Li have like some unique moves that I don't think I've seen before, or they might have been included in like some of the more crossover type games like Marvel vs. Capcom, but you really don't see them in like the classic Street Fighter games, you know what I mean? So very cool. There's no crazy comeback mechanics like the V triggers. So I don't know, that could be, I'm sure that was a strategic decision that could be considered a good thing, because folks want to feel like the victories are more honest. It could be a bad thing if you feel as though you wanted a little bit more excitement, a little bit more pizzazz, more comebacks, more craziness, you know, just off the wall ridiculousness. I got a feeling that there's still going to be a lot of that, but you know, without the V triggers, it's definitely going to be different, right? So we'll see how it pans out, y'all. The game is good. There's kind of a lot of different modes. You couldn't really access a whole lot of the modes, so you know, I could only pretty much go to, you know, the online lobbies and stuff where you sit down at the little arcade cabinets. I'll try to have at least some footage of that for anybody who hasn't seen it. You sit down at these little arcade cabinets, and they also have it where you can go to arcade cabinets on the side and you can play. I saw a Super Street Fighter 2 Turbo, and I also played Final Fight. I'm not really sure how many of these like little extras they're gonna have in there, but I thought it was really cool that they included that. I'm not sure if they're gonna add more in the final game, or I mean, I have no idea what was the idea behind that, but it's really cool that they added that. So, you know, that's definitely bonus points, and it got me feeling quite nostalgic. I wasn't really into Final Fight growing up, but definitely Super Street Fighter 2 Turbo was lit back in the day. So, but yeah, guys, like the game's good. I like the way it feels. Very competitive. Like at first it feels kind of slow. Like for anybody who is unfamiliar, or anybody who played like, you know, Street Fighter 4 and 5, to be honest with you, even those games at times felt a little on the slower side. I feel like 5 in some ways felt a little faster than 4, but it seems like they slowed it down a little bit in Street Fighter 6, and it doesn't really increase in pace until you really start using like the drive rush to, you know, you do your you do your parry. So you can parry, you just hold a button and you can parry, or you can time it. I believe you can like time it, and then it's treated similar to how it is in Street Fighter 3 if you time it properly. You know, maybe somebody might need to correct me if I'm wrong, because I didn't really tinker around with the parry a whole lot. I just did regular block. But you can drive rush out of that, and you can really catch opponents off guard. You get some really strange combos. Like some of the combos that I saw, I believe I got overheaded, and then somebody did a drive rush and comboed me. And I was like, I didn't know what the heck was going on. I figured if I just keep blocking after the overhead, then at least I'll be safe, but that wasn't the case. So I did see some really interesting stuff. So I can't wait to see like how things evolve with the crazy combos. It's a lot of freedom in the game. You can do a lot of stuff with the drive rush for sure. That is definitely not normal. So be on the lookout for that. I can't wait to see how things evolve when the game comes out in 2023. I'm trying to think if there's anything else that I hadn't really talked about. Yeah, I mean, I feel like I've pretty much covered mostly everything. I did get a lot of errors, like, you know, this is a closed beta, right? So the game's not really ready to release. They haven't ironed out all the bugs, but I did get a lot of like the game just crashing on me. It's early stage, right? So I'm not gonna harp on it too much, but that was a thing that happened, and hopefully in the final release we don't see nearly as much of that, because it did happen quite a few times. But there was also, like, I think the last day that I played it, it only happened like once or twice, and I played it for about 2 or 3 hours on Sunday, right? So and they got the classic modes. They're gonna have arcade training, of course, online lobbies, all these different things. And they said something about a story mode, but you couldn't access any of that, so I have no clue how that is. So I can't really talk about that. Whenever you try to access anything else, it'll just say it's not available in this version of the game, and I'm like, okay, all right, screw you guys. No, I'm just kidding, because they took the liberty of allowing me access to it, so I really appreciate that. But anyway, y'all, those are just my general thoughts on the game. I'm gonna, hopefully I haven't even decided how I'm gonna edit this and put it together, but hopefully you can see at least a couple matches in the background, so you can get a general idea of what the game's like. The art style, I do think the art style is freaking awesome, like incredible. I played Juri. I had trouble with some of her, like I could do some of the combos, but after playing for a while, I couldn't really execute some of the combos as well. So that's just, me and my poor execution. Much easier to pick up somebody like Chun-Li and do her combos, and especially characters like Ryu and Ken, who's, their combos are extremely easy to do. So they require pretty much, almost no execution in comparison, at least in my opinion, compared to a lot of the other characters. And I did try all of them, and they were, Ryu and Ken were pretty much business as usual, unless you try to do drive rush combos where things could get really crazy there. So guys, I appreciate everybody watching. Look, if you enjoyed, be sure to drop a like, subscribe to the channel. There's gonna be more stuff. Like, I'm gonna finish God of War soon. The game's not, as of recording this audio, God of War is not finished yet. That game is hella long, so bear with me. I'll be uploading that, and gonna be doing a lot of stuff to continue to grow the channel. More live streams coming. I've taken a bit of a break from live streams to try to reevaluate the different types of content I want to do on the channel. And every time you do that, you have to kind of like pause for a moment and think about it and take some time to do that and execute on anything new. So bear with me, guys. There's going to be plenty more awesome content coming. I want to increase the quality for everything that I'm doing on the channel, so that takes time and effort, and in some cases money to do. So be on the lookout for improvements coming to the channel. So for anybody who's been here since the beginning, you're in for a treat. So anyway, guys, hope you enjoy seeing the matches in the background. I'm gonna try to post some where I win and lose, so I don't look too biased, like, oh, you only post stuff where he wins. No, I might post like, 1 or 2 where I lose the match as well. So yeah, let me know what you think about the art style. I think the art style is freaking awesome. Juri is definitely one of my favorite characters, but I may not be able to play her because her execution is a little on the high side. It's always been an issue with me and Juri. Like, if she was easier, I would probably just play her all the time in every game, and I do play her in every game, but I always kind of have to switch to someone else who's a little bit simpler in terms of execution, where I can just, if I get the reads and the execution is kind of like at the mid-range, then I can beat even really, really tough opponents. But if the execution is too high, I can make like one little mistake, and if I lose and it happens enough, then I'm gonna be pissed, and I'm not gonna play anymore with that character after a while. So we'll see when the game comes out, and I really hit the training mode hard, and we'll see what's effective against the characters that are coming out. And hopefully they come out with my girl Laura from Street Fighter V. I can get some grappling going and really tick people off, because I can read them like a bedtime story, okay? Get read like all kinds of library books. Like, shout out to Barnes & Noble. Anyway, guys, look, there was no grapplers available in the game, so you couldn't even do that in this game. You couldn't like be tricking people into getting like command grab and take up like half their life by doing like 1 command grab super or 2 command grabs in a row and get crazy. You couldn't do that with any of these characters. So I love seeing stuff like that, to be honest with you, even though people like hate that. because they hate how it feels getting read all the time. They're like, no, he's reading me. But that's the type of player that I am. I'm not a grappling playing type of person in every game, but at least in Street Fighter V I was, because I played Laura. But anyway, guys, look, I'm about to get up out of here. Hopefully y'all enjoyed. You know what to do. Drop a like, subscribe if you're new. Follow me on Twitter, twitter.com/RashadLamar. Appreciate everybody watching. I'll catch y'all next time. Peace.